Hey everyone, welcome to the Immi-Wealth Builder Podcast, where we talk about wealth building strategies for immigrants through real estate, business, and investing. If you're looking for real stories, real strategies, and real action steps to take control of your financial future, you're in the right place. My name is Giang, and like many of you, I come from an immigrant background where money wasn't always a topic that we discuss. And when it is often a topic of survival and not wealth building. Growing up, I was great at saving, but no one really taught me how to invest or grow my money. It wasn't until later when I realized that saving alone won't make me wealthy. So I needed to shift my mindset and learn to put my money to work. So in this very first episode, I want to talk about the mindset of wealth building. Because honestly, wealth building isn't just about numbers or strategies. It starts in your head. So today, I'll share 3 key mindset shifts that help me going from just earning and saving to actually building long-term wealth. And of course, as always, I'll give you real actionable steps that you can take and start today. So, my first mindset shift is that money needs a purpose. So I remember that when I was in second grade, my mom would pick me up from school, and every day we would pass by this bubble tea place. And so a cup of bubble tea back then was like 3,000 Vietnamese dong, which sounds like a lot, but really it was probably maybe 10 to 20 cents in US dollars. So one day, my mom gave me the money and said, you can choose. Spend it on bubble tea or save it. Now, I didn't know what I was saving for, but I said, sure, I'll save it. But then every day that we would drove back past this bubble tea shop on the motorcycle, I was sighing deeply and sadly. And then my mom, feeling bad, would just buy me the bubble tea and give me the money anyways. So yeah, that saving lessons didn't last very long. Now fast forward, I got so good at saving that when I got my first paycheck after my very first job, an older friend asked me, what are you going to do with your first paycheck? Because it's huge. This is your first paycheck. What are you going to do with it? And I just said, oh, I already put money in my retirement account to maximize the match that the company was going to give me. And then I'll put the money towards rent, I'll put the money toward food, and then I'll just save the rest. Like, that's it. Now, this is not a story about how I emotionally manipulate my mom into giving me the money and buying me the bubble tea, okay? My point here is that I didn't really have a plan beyond just putting the money away. And that's the problem. If you're saving just to save without a clear why, it won't really get you anywhere. So this is the biggest mindset shift that I want you to get. Saving is good, but is not enough. Money should be working for you, okay? So here are the actionable steps that you can take. Number 1, ask yourself, what am I saving for? And what is the bigger goal? So get very clear. Step number 2 is that I want you to create some specific goals, right? This is not just an amount per se, but I want you to have a goal assigned to this amount. So it can be a down payment for your home. You can be saving for your next vacation. And I want you to create a goal to save the money for investing. This is how you will start building wealth, and this is how you make your money work for you. So set a goal to save money and use it for investing, not just save it for later. Step number 3, you're gonna start learning about investing. And stay tuned, because that's what you're doing now, right? Listening to podcasts, listening to other people's stories. That's how you start seeing how other people use their money to make it work for them. Mindset shift number 2 is that you gotta understand and rewire your money beliefs. So when I was a kid, my parents stressed quite a bit about money. And I remember that when they were renovating our home, my dad was overseeing the construction. The stress in our family was so intense. As a kid, I didn't fully understand it, to be honest, but I felt it. I had to tiptoe around the house, making sure I wasn't saying too much or causing any extra stress. Now, I didn't realize this was the case, but fast forward to my adult life, and when my boyfriend and I decided to renovate our home, I felt so uneasy. And I didn't know why. I did tons of rehab with investment properties for so many years. So it didn't quite click why I would be stressed about renovating our own primary home. And then it just hit me. The stress about money over renovating our primary home wasn't mine. It was something that I absorbed from my parents. So if you feel weird about money, if you feel weird about doing something, whether it's fear, anxiety, or guilt, it's probably because of something that you saw growing up. So a lot of us, especially immigrants, were raised in an environment where money was stressful. So here's the thing, you don't have to carry those beliefs with you. You get to decide what kind of relationship you want with money. So here are your actionable steps. Step number 1, you cannot change your beliefs until you know what they are. So think back. What messages about money did you grow up with? Think about those incidents what is it that your parents always said? And I know probably something's common, like money doesn't grow on tree. That might be something that you carry with you about your money beliefs. So that's step number 1. Start to think back and start uncovering what are some of those messages about money that you grow up with. Step number 2, now that you have these messages, write them down and decide which beliefs serve you and which one that you need to let go of, okay? And step number 3, surround yourself with people who have different money belief that you want to adopt. This is what this podcast is for. I want to showcase this immigrant success story because I want you to know that these stories are possible. So once you start listening to these stories, that will start rewire your brain about these money beliefs that you want to adopt. Here's the mindset shift. Number 3, risk is inevitable, but it can be managed. This is one of those biggest mindset shift that I have seen that really help people moving away from just saving mentality because it is safe and moving into an investment mentality. I've learned that risk is everywhere. You could be driving a car and there's a risk. You could be walking down the street and there is also a risk associated with that. So here's the thing. The goal isn't to avoid risk, is to manage it. So a lot of people hesitate to invest or start a business because they think, what if I lose money? But here's what I've learned. Wealthy people don't just avoid risk, right? They just prepare for it. So that they educate themselves, put protections in place, and take calculated steps. So here are your actionable steps around this. Number 1, write down what those financial risks that scare you the most. I always think that whenever I'm about to make an investment move, there could be this blob of fears that just live in my head. And it feel extra scary because it's this fuzzy, I don't know what it is, but it make me feel anxious. So my first step is always to write down what are these financial risks that scare me the most. And it can be, I'm going to lose all my money. My contractor is going to ghost me. Maybe there's a fire at the property. There's all these risks that can happen that are very real. Step number 2, next to all these risks, you are going to figure out a step that is going to help you mitigate these very real risks. So in my example, I could lose all my money. First of all, let's break it down a little bit. Why would I lose all my money, right? It could be because I don't have enough money to pay the bank. So that could be a reason why I could potentially lose all the money in my investment. Next step, how do I mitigate that? I could have extra reserve so that even though my property maybe not be rented, I could still have money to pay the bank. So that is a concrete step that helped me mitigate a really real risk. Let's try number 2. My contractor could be ghosting me. Okay, how do I mitigate that risk? I could ask a lot of investors for contractor recommendation. So I know that this will be a good contractor for me to work with. I could consider paying the contractor after they have done the work instead of upfront. So then that way they would not likely to take my money and run. So those are some real concrete steps that I can take to mitigate the risk. Let's take risk number 3 that I thought of, right? The house could very well burn down. So how do I mitigate that? I can have working smoke detector. I could have insurance that can cover my investment in case something catastrophic happens. So those are how I would mitigate those risks. So like I said, step number one, write down all these possible risks that your brain can come up with. Keep brainstorming. Step number two, figure out the steps that you can take to mitigate those risks. If you don't know yourself how to mitigate these risks, find a mentor, find a colleagues, find peers, right? Find people who have done what you want to do and ask them like, hey, I'm really worried about this. How would you mitigate those risks? And these people can tell you what they would do. And now you have a solution to mitigate your risk. Step number three, I'm going to challenge you to take one small calculated risk this month. It could be anything. It could be asking your boss for a raise. Is there a risk associated with? Yes, there is. It could be making a small investment. It could be asking an investor for a coaching call. Is there a risk associated with that? Yes. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to understand what fear is coming up for you out of it and know that you could survive these risks even if they were to happen. And I want you to consistently practice your muscle of taking risks because these actions will build confidence. So let's recap. These are the three biggest mindset shifts that you need for building wealth. Number one, understand that money needs a purpose. Saving alone won't make you rich. You need to invest and grow your money. Number two, understand what is your money beliefs and consciously choose whether you want to keep it or not. Your money mindset comes from the past. If you feel stress or fear around money, it might be a time to rewire those beliefs. Number three, understand that risk is inevitable, but it can be managed. So don't let fear hold you back and learn how to mitigate the risk and take the action. So if you're listening right now and thinking, wow, I have never thought about money this way, great. That means you're growing. And remember that you're not stuck with the financial mindset you grew up with, that you can shift your identity and evolve into a wealth builder. You can listen, you can learn a lot, but I want you to start taking action. So if this episode resonated with you, here's what I want you to do. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. Share this with a friend who needs to hear it. Follow me on social media for more wealth building tips. And if you want, DM me your biggest takeaway. I would love to hear how you're shifting your mindset. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.